When I was studying viruses and that kind of thing, microorganisms in NUI Galway, some of my colleagues were studying English, and they were studying the book of Job because it's a play with such universal appeal, and it kind of got me interested. And I discovered things in Job that to this day have been massively helpful. Job is 42 chapters long, and it's a kind of a symmetry. First couple of chapters, Job gets in trouble, he loses his business, his family, and eventually his health. At the end, his life is restored, his business, his family, things are better. But that's at the very, very end, the last 8 lines. But it's the bit in the middle that's interesting, because he talks about his suffering, which was by that time personal suffering also, and he argues with 3 friends about it. But in the middle, well, about 3/4 of the way long, he talks about his psychological suffering. Because he says, I remember back in the day, I was the chairman and the CEO of the company. He was a big Middle Eastern businessman. And he says that my colleagues deferred to me, and I was much admired, and was widely admired for my charity sector work. And here's what I did in the charity sector. I helped orphans out of child poverty. I helped debt cancellation for them. I helped widows. It was used to be said that I would make a widow's heart sing because of the financial package that I would get. I provided for disabled people. Just the sight of me cheered people. People said, wow, Job is here. Things are going to be all right. So I can't do that now. I'm limited. I'm stuck. I'm sick. All those resources that I had to help people, I don't have them. And so they are stuck, I guess. I don't know. Because it was back in the day, I was the guy they went to. Talk about widows, I was the guy. Wasn't it back in the day? It's not. It was just recently. This is what I used to do. He continues to complain. And towards the end of the book then, God intervenes to ask him questions. God speaks then directly to Job, and he says, Job, let's talk about astronomy. I can see Job thinking, astronomy? And then God says, let's talk about the natural world. You know those ibex goats? You know the goats that climb up those gravity-defying cliffs? Do you know how they have their babies? Well, Job doesn't know that either. And then God says to him, what do you know about hippopotamuses? And I can see Job thinking, hippopotamuses. God gives him half a chapter on hippopotamuses. Then he moves on to crocodiles. And it is actually fascinating detail and knowledge of the natural world. At the end of all this questioning, 2 chapters of it, Job says, sorry, I didn't know what I was saying. And he learned something. He learned it's not all about me. God is bigger than I thought. And eventually, Job is referenced by none other person than James, the brother of Jesus, towards the end of the Bible, when James is talking about the return of Jesus and his kingdom. He says, remember Job. He was the patient guy. Because you're going to need to be patient, because you're waiting also. You're not waiting for the end of a virus. You're waiting for Jesus to return. That's a good question for us. What are we waiting for? Let's make sure we're waiting for the right thing.